Welcome, everyone, to the Splash City Basketball Podcast. It is March Madness. The selection show is over. We know who's playing who and when. But before we get into today's guest, a quick reminder for any bracket junkies or people interested in breaking down the matchups. My full Selection Sunday show live stream is available now on YouTube. You can watch the replay there, or I will upload and you will be able to do it as an audio podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Just find the Splash City Basketball Podcast. And while you're at it, make sure to follow on Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook, wherever. Like and subscribe, do all the things. Make sure you leave comments and reviews if you feel so inclined. I would appreciate it immensely. But today's guest is a man who has his program in the NCAA tournament. He is the Summit League Coach of the Year and a finalist for the Hugh Durham Award given to the Mid-Major Coach of the Year. He led the North Dakota State Bison to a program 27 wins and regular season and conference tournament titles. NDSU received the 14 seed in the East region. They will play Michigan State and Tom Izzo on Thursday at 3:05 Central in Buffalo, New York. I met Coach Dave Richman probably about 18 years ago now, while he was recruiting the state of Minnesota. Always had tremendous amount of respect for him, the NDSU program, the way they treat the players and the way the players develop under their program. With that, let's get into my conversation with head coach Dave Richman of the North Dakota State University Bison. All right, last Sunday at the Denny Sanford Premier Center in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the North Dakota State Bison defeated in-state rival UND 70-62 to claim another Summit League championship, record-breaking 27th win of the season, and officially punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament. This is the Bison's first big dance appearance since 2019, though I do want to say the 2020 team, I think, qualified, and we had the worst pandemic of our lifetime. So unfortunately, couldn't make it that year. But thanks to head coach of the Bison, Summit League Coach of the Year, and a finalist for the Hugh Durham Award, I believe, head coach Dave Richman. Dave, thanks a lot for jumping on.
Yeah, Steve, it's great to catch up. You know, this winning thing brings you back to a lot of memories and cool experiences, and yeah, I mean, it's an exciting time to be a Bison. You know me, I've been here for 684 years, so it's always exciting and easy for me to get behind, you know, the spirit and atmosphere of college athletics and Bison athletics and all those things too. But no, I'm excited to join you here for a little bit.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad you brought up the kind of the history. I don't think it's quite that many years, but you've been there for all tournament appearances, I believe. And so as you think about the 6 tournament appearances in school history, what makes this team and this specific run special and unique?
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you asking the question that way, because if you're going to ask me to compare, it's like comparing your own kids, and you know, they're all different. They all got their, you know, their quirks and annoyances, and then they all got the things, you know, you just absolutely love. But, you know, the first two in 09 was obviously really, really special, just because that was the first year we were eligible, and that group, you know, redshirted and put everything out there for that one. And I was an assistant for that one. And then we turned around and were able to do it in 14. And that was a loaded group. Not only did we win our league, but then went on and won a game, beat Oklahoma in the NCAA tournament. And then I was extremely fortunate. Probably the best thing, Steve, that ever happened to me as a head coach was, you know, a player by the name of Lawrence Alexander. And LA was just the consummate pro, an elite gamer. And he was our point guard. You know, he was a senior point guard my first year, and kind of gave me the confidence, the conviction to go forward, you know, as a coach. And that year, you know, couldn't have started worse. And then you know, just kind of picked up steam, and we went on and beat South Dakota State, and then turned around. And it had been a couple of years. You know, we'd gotten back to the championship game, but just weren't able to get that deal closed. And 2019 was a little bit of a slow start. It wasn't a little bit; it was a lot of a slow start. I think we were 2-9 at one point, but you know, we had a group that just kind of stuck together and kept getting better every single day. And it's kind of been the MO. I think everybody looks for the secret of why we've been successful, you know, in this league and in March in particular. And there's no real secrets. It's hard work. It's an attitude to get better every day. And 19 was fun. 19 happened really, really fast, where we caught some steam and we won our league. And all of a sudden you're in Dayton playing in the first 4. You win that game, and 3 in the morning, the next morning you're landing in South Carolina, and all of a sudden you're on CBS playing Duke and Zion Williamson and all those guys, and guy by the name of Mike Krzyzewski. So incredible experience. And then, man, it still crushes me. It really does. Like the 2020 year was great. Just an absolute dominant team. We won our championship game that year by 30 some. And then a couple days later, I'm sitting on my floor in my room, bawling my eyes out, Steve. Like it just got the tournament ripped from us, and like you said,
Mhm.
a pandemic of historic proportions, and shut the world down. And but those guys are going to be fine. I'm fine. What makes this group special? I think it's a couple things. One, for me personally, it had just been a minute, and you never got that satisfaction of taking that 2020 group and to that stage. And then I think the big thing with this group is just there's so much that has changed in our profession. You talk a lot about portal, you talk about name, image, and likeness, and countless other eligibility things, and so you have to pivot, you have to adapt, you have to embrace these changes. I didn't say once that you have to like them, but you have to you have to embrace them all, and we were able to do those things. I got a tremendous staff that challenged me to make some adjustments on the court. We did those things. A tremendous staff that challenged me in the roster construction. We have guys from Miami, Florida, to from Bowling Green, Kentucky, to Finland and Serbia. Things come together a lot different. Things in the spring, in particular, come together a lot quicker. But there's still a lot of purity to it. There's still five guys out there. There's still the relationships, and I think the big thing, the word that I've used probably a million times in the last 48 to 72 hours, is competitive character. There's talent that you can go acquire, and that's not what we're about. We want competitive character, guys that fit our style, that fit our climate, that fit our culture, and that's a big reason why all these groups, but in particular right now, this group has been successful.
I wasn't gonna go transfer portal this early in the conversation, but since you brought it up, it is obviously a challenge at all levels to kinda manage roster, and there's, like, some good and some bad, right? Players come up, some come down from higher level programs, but I was looking at your roster and, obviously Damari Wheeler-Thomas and Noah Federson Jr.'s been with you the whole time. Trayson Anderson kinda waited his turn, playing behind Jackson Money last year. So, in this, like, kinda transactional stage, you just mentioned, like, relationships. How have how do you communicate that to your team? And how do you get them to kind of buy into that Bison culture that you've developed?
Yeah, and you're right. And we talk about it. It's in a lot of ways a very transactional landscape, society in college basketball right now. But I refuse to live my life. I refuse to coach this team. I refuse to lead this program from that mindset. And we're going to
Mhm.
continue to make it very transformational, as a person, as a student, and as a basketball player. And what I've just had to adjust to is we're going to do that. We're going to make it transformational just as long as you're here. And we want you here as long as we can provide your happiness. If you see better or you think you're going to be happier elsewhere, then you need to go. And so like it's something that it's not like this big elephant in the room anymore for me. We have open discussions about it, throughout the course of the year. These guys are getting hit up all the time in their DMs with agents and those things, and it's my job to keep them comfortable, to keep them understanding that yeah, this is okay, but our focus right now is this version of the Bison basketball. And the more you can focus in on us, the better things are going to be for you. And then every spring, so after our, hopefully we make a run in the NCAA tournament. But when our season's done, Steve, we'll sit down and we'll sit down with each and every one of our guys and we'll talk about their happiness. And it's all part of it. But I know this, like experience, you're better today than you were 6 months ago. I would hope you would tell me that. And I feel like I'm a better coach, today. And so in the fall, we go out and we still do a lot of the high school recruiting. And in the spring, whatever needs we fill, we with the voids that we fill that with experience. And whether that be we have junior college kids, we have Division II portal kids, we have Division I portal kids. It's a blend, a little bit of a yours, mine, and ours type family.
Sure. You brought up the high school recruiting trail. I noticed you guys had signed 5 guys, um, for this next year's class, which I kind of feel like is unique in this environment. Like, you might see 1 or 2, and then you're gonna load up on junior college and transfers and this and that. And so, like, to me, that also speaks a little bit to to the culture and the word you're spreading about how you build your program if you're getting high school kids to buy in like that.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I still love the ultimate development piece, and that's taking
Mhm.
upper Midwest high school kids, from Midwest families with the blue collar values that want to grow and get better and be coached and be loved and compete and do those things. And who knows how it takes out. Maybe we took one too many. Now, a couple of them are walk-ons, and so we certainly have some space to go out and get some guys. But make no mistake, anybody that we take in this coming spring, depending on what kind of voids we have and what kind of needs we have, it's going to be somebody that's going to be able to, in theory, come in and impact the program. And more than likely, there'll be some age behind that. There'll be some experience with that. We will continue to. Travion Carson was our first team all Summit League player. He was a junior college kid. Markai Strickland has started pretty much every game at the 4. He was a Division I transfer. Tay Smith has been elite for us off the bench. He was a Division II transfer. So, we're going to continue to kick tires but a big piece of those conversations too in the spring will be, seeing who wants to come back and retaining the right guys as well.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a couple guys there. I think you have 6 players averaging at least 9 points a game. Just really good balance. What I like about you guys is you can kind of play. You have some size, you have some athleticism with Strickland, like you said, on the wing. You have good guards, which makes for a fun, I would guess, first round matchup. Like no matter who you play, obviously there's some tough matchups, and matchups are dependent in the NCAA tournament. But I do like how you guys are kind of fitting to kind of play few different styles if you need to. I know you kind of have a preferred style, but how do you kind of look? I know you don't know who you're playing yet, but like, do you kind of feel that way about your team having multiple weapons?
Yeah, and I would, again, like I would say, preferred style. Like maybe I did have a preferred style,
Mm,
in the past, and I think that's where you adjust your recruiting, but you also adjust your style of play a little bit. And I would
mhm,
tell you that we spend a lot of our time in the summer kind of figuring out what we have and how those pieces blend together. And we're playing completely different style defensively, than we ever have. Last year we had, 2 really high level scorers in Jakari White, who's now at Virginia, and Jackson Money, who's with the Golden State Warriors G League team. And so those were kind of your guys. And, did I like that style better than this style? I honestly, it doesn't really matter to me as long as it's a winning, fun, selfless brand of basketball, and it takes what it
mhm,
takes in each and every year. And now this group's pretty hard to tee off on because there are multiple guys and multiple times that can go out and just get buckets. And we've talked a lot about it locally to the media here and about a superpower. We because of our experience and because of our depth and versatility, we've been very effective down the stretch in games of closing out games or coming back and making some big winning plays. And now I'd love for us to have a bigger superpower and just finish those games and choke somebody out when we were up 20. And we've too many times we've let our opponent back in the game, but we're winning games. And at the end of the
mhm.
day, that's the ultimate deal of winning games and then going back to work the next day and getting better. And so when you talk about roster construction, you talk about style of play, there's just been a lot of adapting, embracing to the change.
Yeah. Talking about winning games, I was looking at your like non-conference schedule, and there maybe not a ton of super sexy high major opponents. And
Hmm.
I know Travis Steele at Miami, and I think Anthony Grant kind of echoed some comments about how a lot of these programs don't play mid majors anymore. But I think looking at, you got Montana, you had Drake, Southern Illinois, so you got a couple Missouri Valley teams, Oregon State in there. Um, when you like just as you think about your schedule and what you are capable of getting right now on your schedule, um, it seems to me that you kind of prepared and took some shots in the non-con to get to this point. I think that's a recipe for success for a lot of teams.
Yeah, no, I'd love to tell you, there was a rhyme or reason to our schedule, and I'd tell you the only real rhyme or reason is we need to fill out a schedule. And scheduling in North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota, has always been a challenge because it's a remote
Mhm,
location. It's not a geography where there's a lot of players. And because of our successes, that makes it even harder. And so, like I would get behind what Coach Grant and Coach Steele are talking about. Of all the things happening right now, Steve, scheduling, non-conference scheduling might be the most challenging part of our job. And I can, and I'm not about these things, but we could pull up Josh Jones, who does our schedule. We could pull up his email and the names and the list of people that said no to us. And
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, we have to fill out a schedule, and so we have to go wherever, whenever, and there's parameters. We have to bring in X amount of money. We have to work towards home games. Then there's the bumper car games of dates. High major leagues are getting bigger and bigger, and thus don't play as many mid-major teams. And I think the other thing that's really a minus for us in the challenge is when you talk quads, a lot of quad one, teams, quote unquote, are playing quad ones, and that's it, except for quad fours. It's
Mhm.
because they're playing so many quad one games that they want a couple, buy games for wins, and we don't fall in either one of those categories right now. So it makes it a real challenge. But again, like I think like anything, you have to accept challenges and figure it out. And my old boss, Saul Phillips, used to tell me we always fill out a schedule, and so far he's been right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, despite that, like, I still think I look at that, like, UC Irvine game, and I'm like, "That's a great
It's
game
a
for you
great
guys. I
game.
know you
Yep.
lost by 1, but, like, that's a good program, maybe an NCAA tournament team, we'll see how it goes, but, there's teams that like
And
that, if you
that's a
guys can
great
k
point, and that's where we've gone is, you can sit around and wait, but you when it gets to the end of the summer or early fall and you still need games, you end up in the same conversations like Irvine and
Mhm.
Miami and the Drakes had, had been good, and we were in discussions with Belmont. Like there's just you're going to have to play somebody good, and that's just the
Mhm.
bottom line. And like I said, at the end of we have some challenges. We've had some agreements with the Big Sky. That has certainly helped to get you some home games. And then, I just appreciate the coaches that want to, that want to fight, that want to challenge a little bit, that aren't running from things, because I think maybe a couple years ago I was that, but now I've just learned, like, how can I fill the schedule, and and not just to be done. But it's one of the more challenging parts of our job right now.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk a little bit about, the team you got this year, the tournament coming up. So, curious on, as a high school coach, senior night was always a challenge, right? Like a lot of
Yeah.
distractions. And then you go to the state tournament and there's distractions. What is the distraction level? Or maybe having been there, what do you know to do and not to do the week of the NCAA tournament with travel and media availability and the distractions that come with that?
Yeah, different question, great question. I would say I break it down into layers. Number one, senior night is a really special deal for me. Like I wore a quarter zip all year, threw on a sport coat for that, and a button up shirt. Like I wanted those seniors to feel those moments. And going into that game, Steve, we talked about emotions versus emotional. Like you can't be
Mm,
emotional in the game, and you see it across the country. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and then all of a sudden it's coming to an end. But credit to our guys. They handled it really well. We had a little bit of a slow start against North Dakota, settled in, and then just really popped them. And I think what I've learned is it's the process is always ongoing. And like we talk a lot about being present, Steve. Like so when you're doing a media thing, be present in that. When someone's congratulating you about your season and those successes, be present, share that joy. And then in a film
mm,
session, lock in. Like what do I need to learn today? And then the other thing that I probably learned is no matter how I think it's going to go, it usually never goes that way. And in particular, those first, 8 to 12 minutes of a game, you're going to just, you got to figure some things out. And I do a little sheet about about myself and control different things. And, one of the things, faith has become a really big part of my life. And I talk a lot about grace and mercy. These are kids. They're not going out there and trying to make a mistake. They're not trying to miss the shot. And just having an understanding, allow them to get comfortable in that environment and those circumstances. And I thought you saw that. The opener
mm,
against Oral Roberts. It was just a choppy game. I never felt like we weren't going to win. There's, Damari hit a big shot when they had cut it a little bit, but I felt like in Omaha was kind of the anomaly where we just got up early and then just blew them out. And then the North Dakota game, man, it just had me thinking a lot, because one, it's your in-state rival. You just blown them out the last 2 weeks. I think there was a lot of anticipation that maybe we were going to play St. Thomas. I think some of our guys
mhm.
wanted that St. Thomas game because of revenge. because they had just absolutely smacked us at their place the week before. So it's just my job to just shape them and keep them present. And then the other thing for us that we've done a little different, I got a tremendous staff right now, and they do a lot of the basketball stuff. I don't shy away from those things, and letting them do their thing and organize, how we're going to play, what style, what adjustments we're going to make, and me managing the guys a little bit, substitutions and those things.
So a local kid here down in the Twin Cities, Stefanowitz, sophomore point guard for you. I know Damari is in the backcourt as well, so you kind of have that presence there. But what has Andy meant to your team? Because to me, he's just a very steady, smooth player that doesn't seem to get rattled too much.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been dynamite. The first two games, we went to Oregon State, and then we went to UC Davis, and we brought Andy off the bench, and I just struggled, not necessarily not having him. I just struggled seeing him sit on the court or on the bench, to start the games, and from a culture standpoint. And um, excuse me, it's also been a great learning experience. Like we talk so much about all these big guys, but this is a guards game, and the
Mm.
guards, and to have multiple ball handlers in the backcourt for us, like, it's been a real luxury. And Andy in particular is, I say this all the time, like how you're always taught to dribble with your eyes up, your head up, but nobody really does. They're always looking over to see where the ball's going. Like, Andy's eyes are always up, coach. And if your hands aren't ready, like, you're going to have a broken nose or a bloody nose at bare minimum. And it's just like, from a head coach's standpoint, it's the ultimate luxury. Like, you just feel more often than not, you're telling a guy, move it, pass it, move it. Like, when Andy's dribbling, and sometimes he's just dribbling around like the old Steve Nash stuff, like, the guys have
Mhm.
learned to cut and play off of him. And, like, he comes from a basketball, I mean, the pedigree is unbelievable. Mom was a stud, and dad played college basketball at 2, and mom and dad have always challenged Andy to play at a higher level. And he's just a real luxury. And at the end of the day, he's just big time people. Now you roll him out there, and he doesn't look like much. His stature, he can look for. We're at Denver this year, and right across from our bench, it was a great crowd. Denver never has a crowd, but the Bison were in town. They got a great crowd, and Andy hits a dagger three, just closes the game, and he turns around. He turns around again. He's kind of barking. And I'm trying to police it a little bit, but yet, hey, go have your moment, kid. And I find out later, well, they've been telling him, hey, you need to get a sandwich. Andy, get a sandwich. You need to eat a sandwich, Andy, because he's so skinny. But I mean, he's great. And again, you go
Yeah.
back to, I don't know to say what's right, because everything is, with this roster is right. But what we're used to here is an upper Midwest kid whose parents were Bison. That's been here for a couple years now, and won a state championship at Minnetonka. And, like, Andy's a winner.
Hmm. Yeah, it was a fun matchup with him and Ullman at UND, both
Yeah.
Minnetonka boys going at it. So um, I think I've seen Mark Kai have a few benefits of that Nash dribble from Stefanowitz this year, some highlight dunks as well. Um, so let's kind of wrap with, I don't know, if you have inklings of where you're going, or what kind of part of the country you might be playing in. And I'm not going to even ask you if you have a preferred one,
Thank
but
you.
as,
Well, I do have a preferred one. I want to go to, like,
so,
Tampa or San
I was going to
Diego
say
or
somewhere warm. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But as you get ready, like, what are you doing to prepare? You're almost a week out here from the first couple of games. Like, what are you doing right now as a staff, just kind of locking in on what you guys do, and then you'll start putting in some game plan stuff on Sunday night, Monday, or how does this work?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's different. So the last time we were in this, the Summer League Championship used to be on a Tuesday. And so by the time
Hmm.
you got back and reset, Selection Sunday was right around the corner. But, I take advantage. I pride myself in being a good listener, Steve. So take advantage of your resources. I was on the phone the other day with Ben Jacobson in Northern Iowa, and they're going to, and we just
Hmm.
kind of had a discussion. And so I thought it was important to, you're playing 3 games in 4 days, and there's a lot of emotions, and you're physically, mentally exhausted and those things. So we didn't touch them at all Monday or Tuesday. It was actually this morning was the first time, we got back together in the court, and we just did some group individuals, and there was great energy and spirit moving them around. And if you've seen us play, no offense to our opponents, but, like, what we care about is us. And I think that's really helped us. We don't do a lot of adjustments based on our personnel. We're going to go out there and work to be the best version of ourselves. And so I love it. It's a little bit of like going into the Summit League tournament. Oral Roberts and Kansas City played each other. We didn't know who our opponent was going to be. So
Mhm.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of that week, we could focus on us and getting through a ball screen better, working on this little action. How do we get this guy just a little bit better? And so that's really been our focus, and that will be our focus in particular tomorrow and Friday. We're going to go after him. We're going to get after him pretty good just to get that competitive fiber and the competitive spirit. I addressed it this morning. Like, we can't control where we're going. We can't control who we're playing. We can control, our attitude and our effort and our trust as we go out there in practice today. But I also said too, the Summit League tournament, well, I want to treat it like a series. We won that series, and now we're moving on to the next series. And I think, and this group gives me the confidence to say that, like, we're gonna put ourselves in a position to do something. I firmly believe that, and so but that will not happen if we don't have a great week of practice this week.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that 2014 team, so let's try to replicate that, maybe even
I'd be
take
good
on
with that.
another win or two. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was a fun group. So, well, thanks again, Dave. I appreciate it. Best of luck wherever you go. We'll be watching. Got a great team, great program. Thanks a lot for joining me today.
Well, it's great to catch up. Appreciate you having us on, and all the best to you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, that's the episode for today. Thanks again to Dave Richman, head coach of the NDSU Bison, and good luck to them as they head out east to take on Michigan State and the Spartans in the East region of the NCAA men's basketball tournament this Thursday, 3:05 Central. Don't forget to tune in. It's going to be a great first day on Thursday. Um, and also, I want to again remind you, if this is before Thursday, head out to Back Channel Brewing in Spring Park, just west of the metro. Really easy to get to. Nice driver on the lake out there. Join me at Back Channel Brewing. I'll be there from 5 to 7 p.m. on Thursday, watching games, breaking it down. We'll catch hopefully the end of the NDSU game. And then we got North Carolina VCU on tap as well. So we'll be talking about the games, talking about experiences, and everything related to March Madness at Back Channel Brewing Thursday, March 19th. All right. With that, let's get out of here. Get on with your day. Hope you have a great one. Again, thank you for listening. This has been the Splash City Basketball Podcast.